I think we're ready to get started. Thank you all for coming this morning. I'm Dan Bobb, and I am Senior Fellow and Director of Programs at the Sasakawa USA Foundation. And we're delighted to be sponsoring our first ever program for the Cherry Blossom Festival, which I also understand is the first time that the festival itself has had a policy-oriented program. And for those of you unfamiliar with us at Sasakawa USA, just wanted to mention we are an American 501c3 nonprofit, and our focus is on research, analysis, and better understanding of U.S.-Japan relations in bilateral, regional, and global context. This, of course, is a very important year in U.S.-Japan relations because it is the 70th anniversary since the end of the war. And it also is really a dynamic period in U.S.-Japan relations, coming after a couple decades in which attention toward Japan has been, over the past couple of decades, has been less than it was in previous years. I think that dynamism largely reflects the efforts both on an economic side and on the security side by Prime Minister Abe over the past 2 years. He's taken a number of important steps and on the economic side, an array of policies that have come to be known as Abenomics. He's also brought Japan into the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations, and it seems at this point that we're relatively close to a bilateral U.S. agreement, which really is the key hurdle that we face before we finalize the agreement amongst all 12 countries. The Prime Minister has also created a new National Security Council. He initiated the first new national security strategy in many decades, led his cabinet to reinterpret the Constitution to permit the exercise of collective self-defense, and is working right now with the U.S. on finalizing the first new bilateral defense guidelines in 18 years. And with all these developments, we at Sasakawa USA thought it would really be useful to sort of take a step back and examine some of the basics of the relationship. So we commissioned 2 important research projects, and the results of that are what we'll be featuring at today's discussions. The first of these is a Pew Research poll on American attitudes towards Japan, and as well as vice versa, Japanese attitudes towards the United States. And all of you, I believe, have received copies of that report. The second is an East-West Center analysis of the role Japan plays across a variety of sectors in the United States, from jobs created by Japanese companies to Japanese students studying in the U.S., sister city relationships, and these are all at a national, state, as well as congressional district level, and that's a web-based product that you'll all should have access to as of today. So today we're going to begin with presentations by Bruce Stokes of Pew and Satu Lemay of East-West Center on their findings from their respective projects. Then we'll get an assessment of the findings by Ambassador Tom Schiefer and Hiroyuki Akita of Nikkei. And then we'll close out the program with remarks from our chairman and CEO at Sasakawa USA, Admiral Dennis Blair. So I'm going to just quickly introduce all of our participants, and then we'll get right to things. First speaker will be Bruce Stokes, who is the Director of Global Economic Attitudes at the Pew Research Center's Global Attitudes Project, and there he assesses public and expert views on economic conditions, values, and policies. He's also a former international economics correspondent for many years at National Journal, was a senior fellow at German Marshall Fund, and a former senior fellow also at the Council on Foreign Relations. Dr. Satu Lemay is director of the East-West Center in Washington, where he's been for the past 8 years. He also serves concurrently as a senior advisor to the CNA Corporation, which is a nonprofit research and analysis organization in Alexandria. And he is the creator of the initiative called Asia Matters for America, which this Japan portion is part of. And he's also a founding editor of the Asia Pacific Bulletin series, editor of the Global Asia Journal, and on the advisory council of the Journal of Contemporary Southeast Asia. Previously, he served at the Institute for Defense Analyses, as well as the Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies. Ambassador Tom Schiefer is founder and principal of Envoy International, a consulting firm that provides a whole range of services to international companies. And of course, he served as ambassador to Japan from 2005 to 2009 and was involved in negotiating a major reorganization of U.S.-Japan reliance. And in 2009, he received the Distinguished Public Service Award, which is Defense Department's highest civilian award and recognition of that work on the alliance. He's also served previously as U.S. Ambassador to Australia, and before his diplomatic service was an investor in the partnership that bought the Texas Rangers Baseball Club. And he served there for 8 years as its president. He's had also a long involvement in Texas politics, having been elected to the Texas House of Representatives for 3 times. We also have Mr. Akita, Hiroyuki Akita, who is with the Nikkei Shimbun as editorial and senior staff writer. He started there in 1987, writing in the marketing news and international news departments, but he has served in far afield as Beijing Bureau. He was also the staff writer in the political news department, senior correspondent here in Washington, D.C., and staff writer, deputy editor of the political news department. So we have a really terrific group of people with us today to talk about the results of the surveys and poll, and we have a great couple of people to assess what this all means. So let me turn things now to our first speaker, Bruce Stokes. Bruce.